in my letters to the lawyers, I have not been charged. I was accused in a letter, but they never brought it to the next step, which is to have me charged. And I don't think they will, because they'd look really, really, really bad.
Right. But as long as you pointed out the fact.
I appreciate your help. If you want to know more, just search Unitarian Church of Montreal in Google, and also blasphemous libel, blasphemy. You'll find more information on the and these protests. I video them. And I put that on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube. You can hear, because I discuss the issues and so on.
Okay.
Thank you. Right. Okay.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye. So this is the guy who asked me some questions earlier. So he engaged in a free and responsible search for the truth and meaning of my protest. Unfortunately, can't say the same thing for Harvey Shepherd here. Harvey Shepherd's a former religion columnist. Good morning, Harvey. Just talking about you and the fact that you're not much of a journalist these days. But anyhow, so Harvey Shepherd, former religion columnist with the Montreal Gazette, has been aware of this protest for as long as he's been a member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, and even well before it. So Harvey Shepherd is certainly in a position to find out the truth about why I'm protesting, what it's all about. If he did, he'd realize that there were some very, very serious problems with the Unitarian Church of Montreal locally, but also with the larger Unitarian Universalist religious community. He might actually, could have written an article about it, but he never did. He's retired now, so, I mean, he could write a special to the Gazette or something, but no, he basically helped Unitarians hide the truth, just like the current editors of the Gazette are doing. They've been told many, many, many times about the issues here, even before the Unitarians accused me of blasphemous libel. There were, previous other issues, previous other newsworthy aspects of this protest that the Gazette refused to report. But since I brought it to the attention of the Gazette that the Unitarian Universalist Association falsely accused me of blasphemous libel for blogging about such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers, the Gazette hasn't said boo. The Gazette hasn't printed so much as one single word about that protest and about that shameful misuse of Canada's blasphemy law. And it might be because people like Harvey Shepherd are members of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. Harvey Shepherd's a retired former religion columnist of the Montreal Gazette. Mark Abley is another member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, and I believe he's still working for the Gazette. He's a words columnist for the Gazette, so here's another Montreal Unitarian very closely associated with the Gazette. And then there's Sue Montgomery, who was, and maybe still is, a member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal for a fair number of years now. She's known about my protest since, let's see now, since at least December 2000, which might actually predate her joining the church. She refused to report on my arrest for allegedly violating Section 176.3 of the Canadian Criminal Code, which prohibits disrupting the order and solemnity of church services. But like I said, she may not have even been a member of the church at that time, but sounds like she probably had friends in the church in light of her obstinate refusal to report a newsworthy story about Unitarian Universalist perversion of justice. And I should add that at some point, for a certain number of years, Sue Montgomery was the justice reporter for the Gazette. So in her capacity as the justice reporter, I, on several occasions, said, "Hey, you should write about the justice issues involved, here that I'm protesting." And this was before I was accused of blasphemous libel by the Unitarian Universalist Association. This was about local justice issues. And of course she refused. being a member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. Then, not that long after the Unitarian Universalist Association falsely accused me of blasphemous libel and thus misused Canada's blasphemy law in clergy sex abuse cover-up illegal bullying, I brought this to the attention of Sue Montgomery and made it very clear that this was the kind of story that the Gazette's justice reporter should report on. Of course she didn't. And then of course there's all the editors and news editors who I've contacted over the years. Not to put too fine a point on it, just in the last month to a month and a half or so, I made another significant push to persuade the Gazette that they should report on specifically the Unitarian Universalist Association's attempted misuse of Canada's blasphemy law in clergy sex abuse cover-up and denial of legal bullying. The reason I did this was because a new managing editor was appointed or hired a couple of months ago, or a little over a couple of months ago, back in January. I believe Bassem Boshra, who had been a columnist with the Gazette, was made the managing editor. And so, okay, so they got a new managing editor. You know, let's see if Bassem Boshra will report this story. So I waited a couple of months, let the guy settle in as managing editor. I didn't want to hit him with this right away. Just, you know, let him settle into the job. And so I gave him a couple of months, and okay, here's my friends. Okay, that's the Metro Police, so they're not going to do anything, I doubt it. Anyhow, we'll get to police intervention soon, but sticking with Bassem Boshra, I left a couple of phone messages with him at least 2 weeks ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago, you know, filling him in on the basic story of Unitarian Universalists falsely accusing me of blasphemous libel in an effort to hide pedophilia and rape. I made it very, very clear to him that this was a spotlight movie type story, not on the same scale, because Unitarian Universalism is a tiny declining fringe religion that has fewer adult members, indeed far fewer adult members than there are Roman Catholic priests in the world. My understanding is there's approximately 400,000 Roman Catholic priests in the world, and there's about 200,000, I'd say at most, adult Unitarian Universalist members in the world. So, you know, half as many adult Unitarian Universalists as there are Roman Catholic priests. So, you know, put that to scale, and you're going to have fewer pedophiles and rapists. There's approximately 1,500 or so Unitarian Universalist ministers at any given time in the last decade or so. So, you know, what percentage of those are pedophiles and rapists is open to some question. But you know, there are some. In fact, just as recently as the last couple of weeks, Reverend Ron Robinson, the former director of the Unitarian Universalist Christian Fellowship, longtime Christian Unitarian, was just arrested on child pornography charges. Not producing child pornography, but essentially accessing it in online chats and so on, and basically, from the sound of it, viewing possibly live abuse of children. And he confessed to, you know, having fantasies about raping children and even murdering children. So, you know, there's definitely some serious sex offenders within the Unitarian Universalist religious community, but you wouldn't know that, you know, in terms of anything the Gazette's ever reported. And so yeah, unfortunately, Bassem Boshra never returned any of my phone messages, never responded to any of my emails. And I should add that, you know, essentially what happened is I was trying to reach him, I believe, for the third time, and I was having considerable difficulty with the Gazette's automatic voice recognition answering system. I didn't have his phone number handy, so I was using the... Did you just knock down my picket sign, asshole? That's called hiding the truth. That violates the fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism, you idiot. So this guy knocks down my picket sign deliberately. I saw him like knock it down with his hand. I don't know if he's a member of the church or not. He may not be. He isn't familiar to me. I don't remember that bald face, but you know, an asshole is an asshole is an asshole. And when you try to hide the truth about Unitarian Universalist clergy sex abuse and UUA cover-up and denial thereof, well, in my books, you're an asshole. So I don't mind using that term. It's supposed to have a fairly high level of freedom of speech in Canada. So when an asshole is an asshole, I call him an asshole. And okay, these ones, I'm not sure if someone knocked them down, it might have been the wind. But yeah, this is a little game that Montreal Unitarians like to play. Yes, sometimes the signs just get blown down by the wind, but other times they're knocked down by Montreal Unitarians, even stolen by Montreal Unitarians and vandalized by Unitarians. Yeah, okay, I think in this case it was the wind because it just got a little gust there, but I saw this guy with his hand knock the sign down. And in terms of the wind direction, it would have been pressing it against the fire hydrant there. The wind wouldn't have blown down that one because the wind's coming from the west. So anyway, getting back to Bass-and-Beauchestre. So I'm trying to reach Bass-and-Beauchestre for the third time to follow up. It's got a few seconds left here in the second half hour. Couldn't get through to him. I was pronouncing his name and the voice recognition system wasn't recognizing it. So I finally got fed up and I said Lucinda Chodan, which is the name of the Gazette's editor, top level editor of the Gazette, hoping I might get through to her. And in fact, the automated messaging system didn't even get that the first time, but I repeated it, said Lucinda Chodan a second time, and I actually got through to her personally. I didn't get just her answering machine, I got her on the line. And so I told her, well, you know, I've been trying to reach Bass-and-Beauchestre, and I have a newsworthy story, haven't heard from him. I told her what it was all about. She already knew because she's been aware of this for quite some time. But we actually had a fairly lengthy phone conversation.